Good evening, sir. I am sincerely sorry to come and disturb you, but this must be done because it's almost like the country is on fire now. Everywhere is scattered, and it's like the battle of two different generations. And sincerely, I am here to represent the Gen Zs. We have a lot of questions, and I sincerely don't like the approach of Seun Kuti. I'm not even sorry to say I hate his approach because coming online to cause everybody's father, all in the name of protecting your father's legacy, is off for me. Where I came from, Baba Oju Babalo, I don't care who your father is. If you abuse my father, I will abuse your father. And being Fela's successor and acting like this should not be in the same statement. He's going a bit off. He's not handling it right. Even though we are coming back to the way Wizkid reacted, but for every action, there's a reaction. So I sincerely don't. Let me just say we have a lot of questions. In that video, he said his father was the most recorded artist in history. And from the little that I know, I don't think that is true. And even talking about Afrobeat, if you Google the best Afrobeat artist now, Google won't say Fela. Fela died in 1997. All of this, let me say all of us, we are not that old. So we don't get to know Fela like that. We should be able to ask questions. Okay, the only best friend we have is Google. If you Google the best Afrobeat artist, it won't say Fela. Google will not tell you Fela. And everything he's saying in that video, if you ask Google, Google is saying otherwise. No matter how much documentary we watch, no matter how much book we read, that does not change the fact that we don't know Fela. And anytime we ask questions, this is what we'll be doing. So that's why I am here. At least if I can't ask him, I can ask you.
So where do we start from? Let's break it down. So what's the
Yes.
first question?
The first question is, do you think all of this is right in the name of protecting his father's legacy?
I mean, Yoruba will say, ibi tó bá ti yẹ ká bá ọgbọ́n, tá bá bá àgọ́ ńbẹ̀,
But what I'm doing?
ó máa ń dùn yàn. So, and we cannot really take this to heart. You can't take this seriously. Because to be honest, Femi Kuti is just having fun and is just doing PR. That's the long and short of it. I mean, Seun Kuti is just having fun, and I believe this is PR because I believe he has a project. I don't know if he's out. He has a project with Vector that is either about to come out or it just came out.
I think it's out.
And I think that is what he's doing. And there's a recent podcast that he did a couple of days back where he explained that Nigerian music is 92% PR, 2% or 3% hard work, 2% or 3% talent. So, and I think this is what he's doing. And I dare say that even Fela's career, despite him being a multi-instrumentalist, an extremely brilliant person, I think he is more brilliant as an human being, he's more knowledgeable as an human being than he is talented as an artist. I dare say that. People love him for his brilliance, for his intelligence, and for his bravery, and for him, for his freedom fighting than for his music. Because it's difficult for you to find, even in my parents' generation, to find people that genuinely love Fela music, that you just wake up and you say you want to listen to Fela. It's difficult for you to find it. People go to the shrine back in the days because of the lifestyle around it. Even in today's Lagos that we live, people go to the shrine not because they really like Afrobeat, but there is a whole lifestyle around the shrine. There's a way it is created. That is what people go to. And there is an artist alive that experimented the kind of shrine setting that worked. His name is Lagbaja. He used to have a place called Motherland in the 90s where he performed regularly and people used to go there. So the lesson for musicians and for people in the music place about Fela is that whatever you are doing, document it. I feel like Fela, the greatest thing about Fela, in my own opinion, is the documentation of all his milestones in music. Greatness is subjective, is however you see it. Do you understand? I can't say this is my own greatest artist because he's the richest. I can say this is my own greatest artist in terms of musical sales, in terms of the number of shows or the kind of capacity he has done. That, oh, this is the first person that did 100,000 capacity stadium, and for that is the greatest. It can be longevity of career. Kwamwan is pushing 40 in
Still
his
active.
prime. In his prime, Kwamwan is still having national anthem after 40 years of career. So if Seun Kuti is saying, oh, his dad had a 37-year career, does it mean that Kwamwan is greater than him because now Kwamwan is 40 years plus in his
going
in his prime? And why is having hit songs? People like Adekunle Gold are still sampling his old record to score hit songs. People like Davido are still sampling his old records to have hit songs. Why him is still having hit songs? 40-year plus career. If you say it's 52 albums, one has more than 52 albums. So he needs to be careful what he's saying, because some of these things that you want to be bringing out, so many people have outdone it. Barrister Ayinde, Sikiru Ayinde Barrister, he created Fugees by creating genre. He created Fuji. And in fact, in his own genre, there's nobody that is arguing that he's not Barrister that inspired him or created the genre. And you have generations of musicians that every record that they still wax, they still mention Barrister. It's difficult for you to find a Fuji album where they don't pay homage to Barrister. It's difficult to find that Fuji album.
In one song you said, in 1974, 120 albums.
Barrister has over 200 albums. And if it's about prime, Barrister had 50 years of prime till he died. Because Barrister blew up from age 12, 13 in Lagos Island when they were doing Were. And he was a superstar till he died. So, but one lesson that musicians and people in this space can learn is documentation and packaging. In my own opinion, Fela is the most properly documented or first, I won't say the most, but the first African artist that is properly documented. But in terms of listenership, now we are in the digital world, the data is there. Fela does not even have 500,000 Muslim listeners. And you cannot say it's because he's dead. Because Michael Jackson has about 62 million monthly listeners. Michael Jackson is equally dead. Michael Jackson is making more money in his death than so many artists alive in their prime. Michael Jackson, since he died, has made over $2.5 billion. So if I want to say that is how I want to judge my own greatness, I'll go for Michael Jackson. So there are people like R. Kelly that's written great and great songs that have, number of albums, number of songs. Fela is not the most recorded album because in the Guinness Book record that Femi, Seun is quoting, there's an Indian woman with over 12,000 songs. So, and even Wizkid is in the Guinness Book of Record book for being on the most streamed song in the world, One Dance.
A win is a win.
So you cannot, if you want to be doing this, this is why he's greatest, you find out that people have outdone Fela. There are people like King Sunny Ade with Grammy nominations. There are other people that have won Grammy. There is Thames, there is Burna Boy. Should we say because Burna Boy has a Grammy, is greater than Fela? Yeah. And forget about it. Nobody has the yardstick for greatness. It is whatever anybody decide to be their greatness. Me, I can come, but there will be one that is just widely accepted. Anybody can come, in my own opinion, but Sikiru Ayinde Barrister is the greatest musician that has ever come out of this country, and nobody can hold me to it, because if Barrister is one artist that can guarantee you that more than 50 radios still play him every day in this country, if anywhere in the southwest Nigeria. And there are generations of musicians that still pay homage to him every day. Anytime Bring out that one artist that anytime generations of musicians go on stage, they pray for him, they pay homage to him. That's the only musician in this country. In fact, I dare say in the entire world, that people will come on stage every day of their life and pay homage. If you don't know, go and do your research. Fuji musicians, Saheed Osupa, Pasuma, Kwamwa, when they go on stage, they pay homage that this is the man that created this genre that we are singing. And they pay homage on every single time they climb stage. On almost all their albums, they pay homage. So I can say for that reason, he's the greatest musician. And this is somebody that Disney World in America, they recognized him because he, on one of his trips to America, he documented his experience at Disney World in one album. And they saw a tremendous increase in the number of visitors to Disney World. Then they start asking people, so how did you hear about this? And they were telling them, we are from Nigeria, we listened to Barrister's album. And he was honored. He has honorary music and PhD from an American university for music, all the way in Kano. This is a man singing predominantly Yoruba. They gave him Serikin Waka of Kano. So, and if it's about talking about, fighting, speaking truth to power, he did that in almost all his albums. One of the most popular one that almost every Yoruba person will remember is Omo Nigeria, Òṣèlú Nigeria, Níbo là ń lọ. So if you decide that you want to be arrogant and be rough about how you fight for justice and freedom, and they arrest you every day, that's your choice, that's your style. But there are some other people that are consistently doing it diligently, constructively, without getting arrested. And it does not make you more patriotic than those people. It's like tomorrow now, maybe in another 10, 20, 30 years, somebody will now come and tell us that Sowore is more patriotic, is the most patriotic Nigeria because he's the one that is consistently being arrested for speaking truth to power. Because you don't have to defame people. You don't have to say things that is not verified in the name of speaking truth to power. There are other ways of talking about it. And this greatness of subject is not something that anybody will just come and say, my daddy is the greatest. Because, like I said, it's subjective. I can decide that Wole Soyinka is the greatest Nigerian for me. Somebody else can say Dangote is the greatest Nigeria because he did refinery or is the richest black man. Another person can come to say Bola Tinubu is the greatest Nigeria. Another person can say is Peter Obi is the greatest Nigeria. Another person can say is Abdul Salam that returned us to democracy, that is the greatest Nigeria. Another person can say is Obasanjo. So it's not something that there is no yardstick to it. It's whatever you decide that you say make somebody great. So Seun Kuti cannot force the greatness on Fela on people if they don't want it. If people think Wizkid is their greatest artist, so be it. It's their greatest artist. And it should not cause fights because there is no way to measure these things. And do you understand? At the end of the day, this whole argument about greatness is about how many people accept it. So if there are so many people in their millions that accept that Wizkid is the greatest, then he's the greatest. There's no argument about it. And the fact that people have accorded you a certain respect that you are the greatest, and they decide that it's another person, because when everybody was fanning you, you were enjoying it. And if they decide that they want to carry their fan to be fanning another person, it should not cause fight. It should not become a public nuisance and be creating menace on the internet because people have moved on. Because at the end of the day, you don't want us to say this, but Fela is not all that now. Fela is not all that. Our King Sunny Ade here now, they are from the same generation. How come they got Grammy nomination and Fela did not get? Okay, fine. Seun Kuti has gotten Grammy nomination. How many shows have you played? And Thames has won Grammy now. Should we say, oh, Thames' 7-year career or 5-year career is better than is more impactful, is greater than your own career because you didn't win Grammy? Because now you are bringing statistics and you are forcing it on us. And everybody respects Fela. Personally, when I have my friends from diaspora, I take them to the shrine. December, I still took my friends from out of the country to the shrine, even though I have to drive all the way from the island to Ikeja. So, but, Omo,
I sincerely don't know what he stands to gain doing all of this because, in my own opinion, it's just setting Baba up for dragging. Our boy is yo lepo loju.
so my own is that every musician just document your work and package yourself. Like Seun Kuti said, everything is 92 packaging, and that is what is working for Fela and other people. Kwamwan, King Sunny Ade, their life now, they need to start documenting properly their work, their achievement, their milestone for the generations to come. You understand? People like Lagdaja now, as great as it is, I don't know how to explain his greatness because if you go on Apple Music, you can't find one single Lagdaja album. Tony Tetula now, only the album that he released under Kenny's music. The other stuff that he did when he went solo, when he started his own record label, is not there. Rugged Man, you can barely find his album. It's just compilation here and there. Artists need to tell their own story, recall their milestone.
And now they'll be blaming Gen Z that we don't know anything. How are we supposed to know?
Because if they want to do research about you, how will they find out? Should we just...
If we go on Google now, ask Google anything about Fela, you hardly see things that will tell you how great this person is. It's about Seun Kuti said and Kinika said. We are hearing it. It's hearsay. We don't know. Sincerely, like I said, we don't know Fela. And growing up, a lot of things we heard about Fela is something that they will tell you, Mashibayo.
So, but look at it.
They will tell you don't go to shrine.
You say you are Gen Z, right? Fela and Barrister, they are from the same generation. But I dare say you know more than 10 Barrister albums. How many Fela albums do you know? So that is impact. That is impact. So Fela, yes, like I said, he's intelligent. There's no doubt about it. He used his voice for freedom, for Pan-Africanism, for to address societal issues, for injustice. Yes, and I think that is where the kind of respect that he gets come from. But when it comes to music, to be honest, Fela cannot lace Wizkid's shoes in terms of what Wizkid has achieved. It sounds ridiculous, but let's look at it. Because King Sunny Ade is from that era. Ebenezer Obey is from that era. Osadebe is from that era. No matter what part of Nigeria you are from, you know one song from these people that I've mentioned. But after What I Know Get Enemy, how many other songs from Fela Kuti do we know? But everything that, even when you see him, what comes to mind is freedom fighter, bravery, and that is it. But when it comes to music, Wizkid has done more than enough for us as Africa, not even as Nigeria. And I understand why people like Burna Boy, people like Wizkid, why they acknowledge Fela a lot. Because as a Nigerian, when you go out and you talk about African music, everybody knows Fela. So when in terms of putting Africa on the global map, Fela did his bits and he did a lot. And so I believe when these artists too, when they go out there and they see how people acknowledge Fela and they identify him with Africa, because that is what he really did for us. He really did not try to sound like American. He really did not dress like them. He was very bold in his Africanism and in his ideology. Do you understand? But when it comes to impact, in terms of imaging and the identity, he did it. But when it comes in terms of the impact of the sound really penetrating to the point where we are now doing stadiums, singing African songs, you have to give it up to this generation. From Tubaba did a beat, the bunch, their generation, the P Square, they did a beat. The bunch, Two Face, and P Square and the bunch, they did. But the era after, the Wizkid, the Burna, the David, they really aced it. And you cannot make that effort small. You cannot bottle it. You cannot make it small. You cannot say, oh, Fela did better. Yes, Fela crossed so that he can run. Yeah. But what they've done for us, the revenues they've made for us, the impact, it is from this era that we now have so many Nigerians born in America. born in UK, coming back to Nigeria to do music. It is from this era that, for example, people like Wale, while he was signed to one of the best independent label at the time, signed to Rick Ross's label. He had to, I saw an interview recently that he had to put Olamide on his album, put Wizkid on his album, and he was paying from his pocket to promote and shoot the video because the executive that they are working with, they don't believe in the sound. But these people push the music to that point where these people, even though they are up there in the biggest labels, they want to identify as being Nigerian. And they did it as an independent, with no big budgets behind them. They were just going. So you cannot
Make that little.
you cannot make that effort little. They did a lot for us. Now, kids, African kids born anywhere on the surface of the earth, for the first time, they are proud of their skin color. They are proud to be Nigerian. They are now rocking their Kampala. They are now if you look at them now, they are now proud. They are no longer trying to be American. They are no longer trying to dress like American. It is this generation. So you cannot say they don't have impact. And you cannot say they are not great. They are great. And 2 people can be great. 3 people can be great. 100 people can be great. So you cannot say, oh, because he's Fela, nobody else should be great. And if they say Wizkid is the new Fela, which is like the problem, in fact,
I think they should be happy.
You should be happy. It's good. If somebody has done so much for themselves and they say, oh, I'm the new Fela, it just means that they acknowledge Fela and
Fela is still
they
in the
see
picture.
him. And now they don't say, okay, we are no longer new Fela, we are Michael Jackson. You are still angry. What is your problem? Is Michael Jackson your father too? And they are just catching cruise, and he's just doing PR. So I'm not going to waste too much of time. Femi, Seun Kuti he just wants attention. He's frustrated.
But
And
looking for attention at the detriment of putting his father at stake. Is that not too extreme?
And that's who he is now. He's ready to mess up the daddy's name as long as he gets attention.
I just pray he has like a successor like himself. Because this is too extreme and it's just setting every place on fire. Thank you for like giving me your time. I sincerely appreciate it, and I get to know what I want to know. I'm still coming back with a lot of questions. But I need to just go and tell my Gen Z people this one.
Yeah, no.
So thank you for always having me.
All the time.